Hey, this is Evans at Motorcycle.com, and I'm gathered here with Tom Roderick and John Burns for our never-ending sport touring shootout of 2014. I think this is finally going to wrap it up. Right now, the reason why we're here at the beautiful Bombay Beach along the fragrant eastern shore of the Salton Sea is because we finally got our hands on the BMW R1200 RT. You may remember that earlier this year it had some teething pains with the rear suspension, and BMW took all the bikes back, and so we couldn't get one for our initial stage of the shootout. So we brought our second place finisher, the Yamaha FJR1300ES. We left out the winner, which is the sibling of the RT, the K1600, because it's really more of a touring bike and it seemed like kind of a ringer in the last test. But because we can't do anything normally, we also decided to include the Moto Guzzi Norge, just because it's got hard bags and we haven't tested it in a while. So what we're going to do is we're going to saddle up in a little bit and go for a ride. But first, Tom, do you have any initial comments?
Well, I think what we found so far, Evans, is that, yeah, we brought along the Guzzi just kind of because, but it's really proven so far to be a equal competitor, at least to the FJR, in terms of some of our top gear roll-ons, in terms of the handling, especially in the tighter stuff. You know, we thought it'd have severe ground clearance problems, but it really shown that it does. You'll touch down, pegs and center stand, but it's actually done surprisingly well, and it's the least priced motorcycle out of the three. So yeah, actually, I have to give kudos to the Guzzi at this moment in our test. What do you think, John?
I kind of really think it's a nice time of year to go riding motorcycles, isn't it? It's late October, it's cooled off a little bit. It's beautiful to be at the Salton Sea, and these are great bikes for doing this kind of thing on. The BMW is pretty amazing motorcycle, and the old Norge isn't bad either, and the FJR is the FJR. Second, it won runner-up last time, so it's good to be out and rolling around. And we're smelling all kinds of good stuff too. We're gonna go to Mecca next. Site of one of the biggest landfills in California. It's just up the road.
Well, thanks, John. I guess that's all that's left to do is to gear up and go get some more bug samples on the front of these motorcycles. Another successful day.
Still alive.
Yeah.
Long day.
Long day. Yeah. In fact, you folks out in TV land may notice it's dark outside.
And cold.
And cold. Hence,
At 6,000 feet tonight.
Yeah. Hence, we're drinking coffee, and it's time to talk about the bikes.
Bikes? Oh, those bikes. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't talk about the Royals.
What happened to the Royals?
Just watched Game 7 of the World Series. Kansas City Royals have gone down in bitter defeat, but it was a good series, so it was fun to watch. It's cool that we got to Idlewild in time to watch the end of it,
Well, out of these three motorcycles, who's the San Francisco Giants and who's the Kansas City Royals?
Say the Royals are going to have to be the Moto Guzzi tonight.
Really?
The Moto Guzzi is a great motorcycle, but it's going to have to finish last in this group, don't you think? It's kind of old-fashioned compared to the other two, which have electronic everything. The BMW's like, it was nice when we were coming up to Idlewild. We remember we could switch on the heated seat and the heated grips on the BMW. It's not real cold yet, but it's nice and it's chilly, isn't it?
I would have to say what's going to hurt the Guzzi a lot is that it's only fractionally less than the FJR, with the electronic suspension and all the modern niceties that it has. I like the Guzzi. We were saying earlier, it performed well. It performed better than any of us could have expected.
Way better.
Yes, and it's got a super comfortable seat. The seat to foot pegs are a little close for my height.
It's not altogether uncomfortable, but it's really noticeable. Because I did an hour-long stint. And I didn't feel cramped in it, but it's definitely not as roomy as the other ones.
We actually have to give the sportiest bike to the most touring bike, which is the BMW. The BMW, I mean, it has the best fairing protection. It's got the most, technical gizmos with its electronic suspension and the best, just the protection that you get off its electronic windscreen, and like John said, the heated seat, just everything going for it. It's going to have a price problem when we get into doing the scorecard, but you know, the K16 was able to overcome that, and I think the R12 is going to be able to do that too.
I don't think the R12, the base price of the R12 is $17,705, and BMW always gives us extras, so I don't know what the total price we have right now, but it's only marginally more. It's less than $1,000 more than the tricked out FJR with the ES. I wanted to get back to the Guzzi for a second because we were talking about how it worked, and it was surprising how well it worked, but it never felt as effortless as the other ones did in a lot of situations. The Guzzi always felt like it was working hard. It was able to keep up. It had a really nice torquey motor, but you really felt like you had to push it a little harder to make it keep up with the other two bikes in the windy stuff.
Well, when we did the Top Gear roll-on, that was the big surprise.
That was a big surprise.
I mean, the BMW just walked away from the other two, and we expected, again, the FJR to walk away from the Guzzi, and we're just dead even. We're looking at each other going, is this really happening?
It was our biker boys moment.
Yeah, the Guzzi is a great motorcycle, but it's just a little bit old-fashioned compared to the other ones. I think it's kind of the Italian glide of the group, you know? Not that there's anything wrong with that. If you want one that doesn't have a lot of electronic stuff on it, it's a great motorcycle. And like engine character, it makes less power, but it's got great character like all the Guzzis do with the 90-degree V-twin. And I expected it based upon the dyno. It makes 86 compared to 111 horsepower and 127 for the FJR, but it never like lagged behind anywhere, even like rolling on the throttle next to each other. It didn't fall that far behind at all. So yeah, I could totally make a case for it if you want one that doesn't have all the electronic stuff, but it's a shame it's not a lot cheaper.
Yeah, if it was, you know, 14.5 or something like that, I mean, you'd have a much better deal on your hands with the Guzzi.
But I kind of think what we need to really, since the FJ finished second behind the K1600 GT, right? So we're really comparing the RT against the K bike that we had a few months ago. And the K1600 whopped up on everything last time, so that's why we got the RT this time, right? And I think if I had to choose between the RT and the K1600, I like the RT better.
Lighter weight, more maneuverable, same doohickeys as the K16, just a different engine configuration.
It makes a bunch less power, but it still makes 111 and a lot of torque, and it weighs like 110 pounds less. And I'll trade the 110 pounds less weight for the less power any day of the week. That thing's so sweet, and it just goes around corners so effortlessly. And
it's got the fun
linear
shift
steering
assist and all of that, which is kind of cool.
It's a great motorcycle. It's the next. I always loved the RTs, and this one, it was hard to see how they're going to make it better.
Clearly, in this trio, the BMW is the best bike. But which bike do I like the most? I still like the FJR more.
My problem with the FJR, I would expect the Guzzi, for whatever reason, to be thick and wide, but it's actually narrow in the tank. And I get on the FJR, and it's got those kind of like birthing hips on it that I got to wrap my knees around. It's a very wide bike, and it kind of, I have to get used to that. You know, I notice it every time I get off one of the other bikes, get on it. It's like, okay, this thing's wide.
And being the 5'8" guy I am, the FJR is kind of the tallest one too.
It is.
And it weighs what, 30 pounds more than the RT. So the RT's got the lightweight going for it also.
Yeah, the FJR weighs 2 pounds less than the Guzzi. That's kind of surprising that that the Norge would be the heaviest bike here.
The old Norge.
Yeah. So, but the FJR, when you're trying to push it backwards on a slippery surface, and you're on your toes, even with the seat in the lower position, it's.
And kind of, I'm not a huge fan of the FJR because it's got the sportiest ergonomics. It feels like to me. You're a little bit. I have to stretch a little. I have to lean over a little to get to the bars, and the bars are kind of narrow, and it just feels like more a sport bike. The RT's like your dad's Barca Lounger. When just like you're sitting in your favorite chair playing a video game, almost. To me, it's so comfortable.
Yeah, the riding position in the RT is so compact because you're forward, your arm. With the FJR, it is more of a lean, but I sort of like that. But I also like the riding position in the RT because it's very compact and upright and just really relaxed.
Yeah, I think if you were going to do really pile up miles, the RT would be good for me. The FJR would get a little lower back pain after a while at my age. You know what I mean? I think the RT is going to be a pretty clear-cut winner in my book, but we probably shouldn't tell people that because we want them to go read the story, right?
So don't listen to what John just said.
I didn't say.
And read the
It's
story.
still up in the air. It's
Leave
like
out that entire.
it's like Game 7 at the bottom of the 9th. We don't know yet.
Okay, well that pretty much sums it up. We had a lot of fun riding these 3 bikes. We were out in the desert, in the mountains, and now we're going to go ride home in the dark with our hand grips heated. If you're watching this on YouTube and you want to read every little detail about it, go to Motorcycle.com and check it out.